Welcome to the Brutally Honest channel, where we say it like it is. We call a spade a spade. We don't beat around the bush. Today we focus on Umkhonto weSizwe Party, a new kid on the block. It has performed very well in the May elections. And now the big question is MK an alternative? There's been a lot of enthusiasm over the formation of MK. Recent developments have also given a new sense of hope that MK could become an alternative to the ANC. Then we ask this question in the Brutally Honest channel: is MK an alternative or a flat spare tire? To be honest, of all the splinter groups that came from the ANC post-1994, MK is the only party that has shaken the foundations of the ANC. But it was formed at the right time. So the conditions were favorable for a party such as MK. When you look at the vulnerability, the extent of ANC's vulnerability, and the divisions within the ANC, you would realize that the ANC was at its weakest. Having lost the metros in the 2016 and 2021 local government elections, having declined in 2019 elections nationally, the ANC was at its weakest, and the formation of MK destabilized the ANC. It took it to the gutters. Now the ANC is at 40%. So MK has given a sense of, let me call it what it is, a false optimism that this could be a party of the future. But it can't be a party of the future unless certain questions are answered. The first one: what is the character of this party? The people who are joining the party are coming from different ideological backgrounds. The founder of the party, he is a known tribalist. He is a known nationalist. And you've got people like Floyd who are joining the party now, who have claimed to be left-leaning. So what then would be the ideological character of this party? That is a substantive issue that the party needs to focus on and clarify its ideological stance. Secondly, let's be honest. President Jacob Zuma, former President Jacob Zuma, is old. Old age is catching up with him. Does the party have a future beyond him? So if it doesn't answer this question of leadership, who will be the successor to Jacob Zuma when he is no more, when he leaves the political stage? Who will take over the party? So there needs to be a sense that there will be a smooth transition to a new leader, and such a leader must be able to still unify the party, hold the party together. Given the instabilities in the party, the infighting and the paging, MK is not yet at that stage where you can have full confidence that without Jacob Zuma, MK will survive. I honestly doubt it. So given these factors, I don't see MK as an alternative. I think it will be a useless spare tire that you can't use in the hour of need. That is the brutally honest truth. MK needs to do a lot of work to create structures and processes so that the paging does not happen willy-nilly. There must be a sense of justice when people are removed from positions. There must be processes. It must also show that they are leaders that are standing and ready to take the party to the next level beyond Jacob Zuma. But if it remains dependent on one individual, then it will fall on the same trap of personality cults. And you can't guarantee the future of such a party if it is going to be dependent on one individual. Now, the next question that we need to address is, what do we make of the strategy of MK to recruit and deploy questionable characters in parliament? I think let's start at analyzing our parliament. Truth be told, our parliament is not an epitome of ethical leadership. It is essentially serving two purposes. One, it has become an employment agency for people who have no career prospects. So you are a failed somebody, you tried to do something and it didn't work out, go to parliament, you are guaranteed a job and a salary. So people are going to parliament when they have nothing to offer whatsoever, except maybe to howl in parliament. That's all. The second purpose that parliament has been serving is that it has become a place where the implicated hide. So if you are implicated, you have a scandal, you form a political party or you join one. Then you are guaranteed you will be shielded from accountability. So of all these things do not reflect well for accountability and democracy. So parliament, which is meant to hold the executive accountable and the administration accountable, it cannot exercise its authority and its power. It has to, it can, parliament, if working properly, it should be able to summon individuals to come to account. Now, here is the dilemma, the crisis that MK has created for our democracy. You recruit the implicated, you place them in parliament, and then you deploy them to the same committees that are supposed to exercise oversight on the institutions that these individuals were presiding over. Now, remember, what parliament should do is that there are so many issues that are still hanging, and such issues must still come to parliament. So people like Siyabonga Gama, people like Brian Mulife, people like Lucky Montana, they still have to account for some of the things that happened under their watch in the institutions that they were leading. Now, how does parliament, or how does the very same committee say, let us summon so and so to come and account, when that person is sitting in the very same parliament, in the very same committee? They are conflicted. There is a huge crisis ahead of us. It's a crisis of accountability. It's a crisis of a conflict of interest. And I think that this is a strategy of MK Party. The strategy is to destabilize institutions of democracy, is to erode any semblance of accountability whatsoever. Now, history will prove that I am right. One, you would recall that in post the 2007 conference of the ANC in Polokwane, you saw the dismantling of institutions of democracy from the Scorpions. Immediately when Jacob Zuma came in, there was a concerted effort to dismantle institutions that hold individuals, politicians, and institutions accountable. The Scorpion was the first target. Then you had institutions such as the Public Protector's Office being undermined by the very same people. Now, you can't then say that what they are now doing is not connected to that culture of disrespect and undermining of institutions of democracy. So what will happen out of this crisis that MK is creating is that accountability will be thrown out of the window. The politicians now that we are forced to call honourable, I mean, really, we must call the dishonourable honourable, by mere fact that these people are now members of parliament. So here is the crisis awaiting us. There will be no accountability anymore. You can be guaranteed that if MK was had won these national elections, there will be no accountability whatsoever on even taking issues of state capture. In fact, what we'll be talking about will be maybe pardoning of scores of people who are implicated in the state capture, and that will be it. So we have a crisis awaiting us. There's a crisis of democracy, a crisis of ethical leadership. There is no ethical leadership, and MK is going to be epitomizing that new culture, and that is what they are about. So cry the beloved country. South Africa, stand up and defend your democracy. As for the question that we asked earlier, is MK an alternative? I don't think that MK can be considered an alternative, because one, MK does not seem to be committed to promoting and protecting our democracy. Remember, post these elections, they wanted to challenge the outcome of this election, actually challenging, questioning the credibility of the IEC. They've got every right if they have evidence, but it must not be, we need to actually raise questions about whether this is genuine concern or this is part of the effort to undermine our democratic institutions. So I don't see it as a party that is committed to defending and protecting our democracy. Two, it cannot be an alternative, because if it is a party that is dependent on one individual, that party has no future beyond that person's presence in our political space. So how do we entrust our future in a party such as that? Three, they need to clarify their ideological character. There is a lot of confusion. It's now a hodgepodge of thugs, implicated people, and so forth. As to what they stand for, we don't know. The party needs to issue documents that clarifies its ideological character. Then we can have something that we can look through and say, oh, this is where they are taking South Africa to. But so far, confusion and confusion. Our democracy is strong, must be preserved and must be protected. Thank you very much.